Hi, and welcome to another demo of RustPoint. We're going to build onto the project that we did in our Getting Started, which was called My First Project. So we're going to show you how you can start making this be a little more higher fidelity of an API backend and mock. And by doing this, it really helps flesh out the API design because it can help you find things by working through each of the request types. So let's start with, if you look in your, I'm going to come in here now and create an example project. And all you have to do is click example, and that gives an example that we can now take a look at all the different script examples. So if you see example pet store in your list, then feel free to use that. If you joined at a certain time where the example pet store wasn't around, you wouldn't see it, so you could do what I just did here and create it. So what this shows is how we can start getting more advanced in how our API calls are made. So to give a quick example is, let's say we're going to create a pet. Now, we know from our hopscotch, when we went in to create a pet, we did a post, sent in the information. Now what we want to do is say, well, if a name is not specified, we want an error. So let's go take a look at how we did this. So you see, here's a script, and there's all the different types of things you can do as a helper. So if we take a look at this and we say, okay, the request object that's your data that you're passing in. And we're going to say, if there's no pet name, then we want an error that says the pet name must be specified. So what happens anytime there is a request, the pre-script is run first, then the database is updated. In this case, a pet is added into the database, and then it runs a postscript, and where you can also put in script. We don't have anything in there right now. So, so let's do an example. So we have the script in here. I'm going to grab the curl statement for the post, and I'm going to paste it into Hopscotch and import that. Okay, so now you'll see that's the import call. So we're not going to put a name in here on purpose because we want to see an error come up, and we're going to make an ID 5 because we know that's not there. So for the tag, we're going to call that dog222. So when I hit a post, it should give me an error now saying you need to have the name. And you say there, the pet name must be specified. So to take a look at that script again, you see that's how we did it. We just get the data. We say if there's no pet, it must be specified. So this is how you can start injecting script to make it look more and more responsive. And when you're getting API design reviews or building test APIs, this can start really helping you with running your tests as well. So you'll see here, if we add in the post, we checked for the name. Another example this shows in this API is now we start having some more nested paths here. So this one is, we have pets and we have a list of stores, but now we want to store a number of pets. So pets exist in a store. So as soon as we keep a list of pets, we keep a list of stores, and then pets can be contained in a store. So as you can imagine, we're now starting to get into, okay, there's a little bit of logic here now. So when I want to add a pet into a store, let's take a look. We can say, first of all, let's make sure the pet was added to pets before adding to the store. So we want pets to be all the pets we have in all the stores, but then each of the pets has to be assigned into a store. So under this example script, we'll go through a couple of examples. So make sure a pet was added to pets. So what we do here is when a request is made, a post into a store, we want to get the pets, and then we want to make sure that that pet ID exists in the store, because we can't add a pet to a store that doesn't exist in our list of pets. Right? And if that passes, we return the error. And here we say the pet must be specified. First of all, we say there must be an ID. So you can't go and just send a post into there. It'll say it must have an ID. And if the ID was provided, we have to make sure it exists. So let's give an example of this. So if I do a post, I'm going to grab the statement. I'm going to go over to our hopscotch, post this in, and you'll see there's the call, and then you see, okay, let's try this post. So first of all, I'm not going to provide an ID, which is an error anyway. And we'll just say this is a cat called Bob, and that's a cat 111. So as soon as we try to store a pet in, and we're going to call the store ID to be 1. So we're going to post a pet into a store. Let's go. So you see right away, we say a pet ID must be provided. So now we go, okay, well, it has to be a pet that we know exists in ID. Well, we know pet ID 1 exists. So I'm going to say pet ID 1 exists. All right, and because it's a pet, it's the ID that we mainly want to add, I can now say post, and it says could not find that. So let's go take a look at our list of pets. So if I do a get on the pets, you'll see, oh, we didn't add in a pet. So let's add one in. So we'll do a post. And we're going to go number 1, Bob, cat 11. So we're going to post the pet in there. We're missing a comma. There we go. So now we do a post and we say, okay, great. Now we have pet number 1. Right? Now we're going to come back and do the same thing again. We're going to say stores pets. Now let's do a post. And we're going to now try to post that in. And now that worked. So now if I say get me the pets in that store, you'll see there it is. If I said give me the pets in or if I want to do a put, maybe change the name from Bob to Bill, I can do that as well. And now when I do a get, put 1, oops, that should be pets 1, my mistake. So now we want to change pet number 1 on a put. There we go. Okay. Okay, so you'll see now that there we had to put in some logic here to make sure that these kind of things were handled. And by having a higher and higher fidelity of an API, you start to work through these issues instead of an API now having to deal with this in development time, so that you can really work through a lot of these issues. So if you were designing this API, you would say, okay, if we're going to provide a list of pets, a list of stores, a list of pets in stores, then we have to make sure, can you just come in and add in a pet that isn't there? Okay, we have to put in that logic. So it helps flesh out all the design. And even before the backend developers start working on this can all be fleshed out very early and all these made, because you may want to allow a pet to be added in there, and maybe then underneath it's added into the pets. Or you may throw an error that says, no, you can't add a pet until it's added there first. It's just, these are the things that get brought up. So by adding more and more fidelity and being able to add scripting in, this shows how you can really do a lot of the upfront work and get a lot of the upfront discussions from your APIs sorted through before going to development and running into these issues, and UI developers running into them and trying to fix these issues on the fly. But take a look at this example and take a look at all the different scripts in each one. And there's lots of things, lots of different scenarios that you can keep getting higher fidelity and make better API design prototypes and tests. All right, thank you.